What if you could start a loan business, a remote money lending business, without lending your own money? I know, sounds too good to be true, right? But in today's episode, in this video, I'm going to walk you through what you need in order to start a loan business, or some people classify it as a loan agency, a loan company, a business lending solutions company, right? I'm going to walk you through what you need, the steps that you need to take in order to start your own loan business. Additionally, I'm going to walk you through how you can start closing high ticket deals fast, like high paying commissions, okay? Because in this type of business, this industry, that is the type of business model that it is, which we will get into in just a second, okay? How your payments will work, all right? And I'll also break down what makes this business model work so well. All right, so stay with me. And by the way, if you are new here and you're wondering who is talking to you, who am I? I'm Shanice Shaibibia. I'm a remote money lender, okay? And I've been doing this for the past maybe 4 years now, since 2022. In my very first year, about a year and close to a half of starting this business by accident, by the way, I started this business by accident. My very first year, without a finance degree, without having any experience in this type of specific industry, I was able to close about $1.1 million in business funding deals. Okay. And so today I'm going to be walking you through all the things that I know. And the best part about this business is that I was able to do this remotely. Okay. A little bit later on, I'll share exactly like how I got into the industry by accident. All right. But that's just a little bit about my backstory, just in case you're wondering, who am I and why should you listen to me? Now, firstly, when we talk about starting a loan business, I'm not talking about any loan business, okay? I'm referring to business lending. I'm not referring to consumer lending. Consumer lending meaning you as the individual, you as the consumer, right? You may take out a personal loan, a personal credit card. I'm not talking about consumer lending. I'm talking about business lending, right? Small businesses, growing businesses, major corporations, right? So I'm going to walk you through the difference of what makes the business model different. We're talking about business lending, not consumer lending. Okay. Number two, we're talking about the alternative lending space. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a second. So you have alternative lending and you have traditional lending. So with traditional lending, you may know the major banks, right? You may, do banking with some of the well-known major banks out there. Okay. We're not talking about that type of lending. With alternative lending, you have like a lot of more than most people know that exist, right? Like private lenders, creative financing companies, just creative lending, right? We're talking about like invoice factoring, equipment factoring, working capital loans. You can get business funded in like 3 days. I mean, with like traditional lending, you're waiting, right? There's a lot of more like red tapes with like traditional lending. Okay. Bigger banks, major banks, they want 2 years tax returns, profit and loss statements, plus, a certain credit score. With alternative lending, yes, they do have their minimum requirements as well. However, with traditional lending, it's a lot more red tape, right? They're looking for a lot more stuff. The process is longer and it's just annoying. Okay. It's annoying to a lot of business owners who need funding fast. They need a quick turnaround time. So this is where the alternative lending industry comes in. Okay. We're not talking about traditional lending. So I just wanted to lay that out there so that once we get a little bit deeper, you will further understand. Okay. With alternative lending, let's talk about why this business model works. So I started writing my little arrow there, but in a second, I'm going to walk you through the differences of what makes this truly an alternative lending industry. Okay. But before we even dive into this, in order for someone to step into this type of industry, business lending, right, you have to first have an entrepreneurial mindset. Okay. This is not for someone who is looking for a job type of thing, like a W-2 type of business, right? Let's be clear, this is not being a loan officer. Okay. So you're not becoming a loan officer for a company. All right. This is where you're your own boss. You are running your own agency, you're running your own company, you're running your own business. You are an entrepreneur, a business owner, and CEO. Okay. And further down, I'll share a little bit more into how you get to truly become the CEO of a business like this. So this is for someone who values, flexibility, creativity, structure, and entrepreneurship. Okay. They value having autonomy, right, in business. They value having um, a system, a certain type of structure, okay? Because this is a type of business with some level of structure, okay? And we'll get a little bit further into that later on. So you first have to have the right mindset. Okay. You first have to have the mindset that, oh, I can actually do this. I can run my own loan company. Okay. And it's very simple. All right. I just want to throw that out there that the process of starting your own loan company or your lending company, your loan agency is pretty simple. And I'm going to walk you through those steps, what it looks like to start your own company. Okay. Once you are someone who can follow instructions, you have the I can do it mentality. You have an entrepreneurial mentality. You value business, you value structure, and you value, creativity and having flexibility. You value remote income. Okay. You may be able to do this type of business. All right. And so in this video, my goal is to just really break things down so you have a better understanding. If this is something that you were ever curious about doing and curious about starting, I'm going to take a deeper dive in today's episode because, in the previous episodes, I've shared with you some of the concept of remote money lending, right? Starting your own loan company. But in today's video, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. All right. So again, starting this business first starts with mindset. You must believe that this is something that you can and will do. And you must be committed as well to the process. So I started writing my arrow here. Let me just break down what the alternative lending industry needs, right? Number one, the turnaround time for funding and for commissions to be paid out is fast. It's fully remote. I mean, with the traditional industry, can be remote too. But what makes it different is commissions as well. High. So it's fast, remote, high commissions. Okay, so this is what makes this industry stand out, right? So if you think commission, if you think let's say an industry like being a realtor, right? Being a realtor is a very well-known, common commission model type of business. Okay. And everybody understands how that works. Most people understands how being a realtor works. You sell a house, you help your client, buy a house, whichever, and you make a commission. Typically, realtors, okay, let me just put a circle here. Typically, realtors say this circle is for a realtor. Let's say let me pull my board over more, a 3% commission, right? For the most part. So let's say a realtor, for basic math, okay, let's say a realtor sells a property or they help their client sell their property, whichever. And let's say the house was for $100,000. Okay, today you're probably never going to find a house for 100,000 that like a livable, move-in ready type of house. Maybe, right? It depends. Maybe you can still find it, um, but this is just hypothetical, okay, for simple math. So let's say a realtor helps sell a house or help their client buy a house, and it's $100,000, right? So their commission for the sale of that house would be $3,000, right? Typically, that's how it works, right? It will be $3,000. Uh, in business lending, the model works very similar. You, as the remote money lender, okay, basically, I coined that phrase, by the way. As a remote money lender, business loan agency, business lending broker. Some people classify it as that, depending on the nature of the transaction to be specific. But you as the remote money lender, okay, remote money lender, RML, let's say you helped a business get $100,000 in funding, right? Whether that was a line of credit, a startup line of credit, by the way, which those are a thing for businesses who don't even have revenue, you guys. So I'm telling you, like, there's so much creative aspects, like creative types of financing for this type of business, right? So that exists, helping a business get a startup line of credit, okay, with no business revenue exists. All right. We won't get too much into the different types of loan products in this video. The goal of this video is to break down how you can start a loan business without your own money. All right. So you as a remote money lender, typically industry standard partnering directly with a lender. So you have two ways to do this, by the way. My board, I did not practice this, so my board is probably going to look real crazy. But first of all, you have two ways to do this. Okay. You can partner with other brokerages, broker networks that have like relationships as well with other lenders, or you can partner directly with lenders. Okay. So you can partner with lenders and you can partner with lender networks. I'll just put LN for lender networks. Okay. So as a remote money lender, you can partner with lender networks or directly with lenders. All right. So now that we have broken that down, in this industry, typically, when you partner directly with lenders, the commission usually range from like 5% on the low end to about 10%, sometimes 4%, depending. But let's say it's 5% on the lower end. Okay. So you close the same $100,000, 100K. Let me put 100K right here. So you helped a client close on $100,000. Okay, your commission is 5%. Your payout is $5,000. Okay, cool. A $2,000 difference. Pretty decent, right? But here's the thing. I want to break down what makes this a little bit different and why I really do love this business model, right? I love real estate too, you guys, okay? I love the idea of realtors helping people find their dream homes or find investment properties and all those things, okay? I think they're both great. However, I just want to break down the difference with remote money lending, okay? As the name says, okay, it's remote. It's fully remote, which means that you can close a lot more transactions and you can do it a lot faster as well in a shorter period of time. All right. So, for example, as you know, for a realtor, you have a client, right? I remember working with my realtor. Boy, we looked at so many houses. Like we were all over the place looking at houses for like weeks upon weeks. She was looking for houses for me, sending me deals. I'm sure some of them were like maybe automatic or whichever. It depends on what she had in like the database. But we're going, looking at houses, doing all of these things, driving, doing documentation, all those things. My closing as well, it was like pushed back because of I don't even remember the exact reason, but the lenders were trying to find a reason to push back my closing and give me excuses and all of that. And I was trying to move out of the apartment at the time that I was living in. Okay, this was when I was like 23. And I was like, yes, I'm going to buy my first house. I'm 23. I'm going to buy my first house. I have an amazing realtor who's helping me. Life is great. Okay. And so I was so excited, packed up the apartment because I'm like, okay, this is when we're closing. I had like a closing date. And so the closing was pushed back. Okay. I did not. Oh, yes, it was close to me renewing my lease. And I had the decision or I had a choice to make. I'm either going to renew my lease or I'm going to buy a house. And it was just like one of those spontaneous things. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a house. I had some savings. I added some of my tax returns that I got too. And I'm like, I'm going to buy a house. Okay. And so closing time was coming up, was moving out of my apartment because my lease was up. Closing was pushed back. Now I'm in a hotel. Okay. Had to stay in a hotel. And my realtor, thankfully, thank the Lord for her. She stuck it through and she really helped make things happen. But as a realtor, you're doing a lot of that, right? You're doing a lot of back and forth, meeting with clients, showing them houses, open houses, all of these things, okay? As a remote money lender, your leads this can be a very faceless brand as well. That's why I like this business model. Your leads come in, they're routed to direct lenders or lending partners, either manually or automatically, whichever. We'll probably get a little bit more into that a little bit later. And when the deal is closed, okay, the lenders do most of the work, do most of the heavy lifting in a sense, closing documentation, whichever. It's all remote. You don't necessarily have to be at a closing table, at a physical closing table. Sometimes virtually, sometimes some lenders want you on the phone on the other end so that you kind of know what's going on, with the process. One particular lender that we work a lot with, they like for you to be on that call. And so either way, it's remote, the deal is closed, and you are paid. It's that simple, literally that simple. So imagine doing this remotely. How many more deals can you have closed in a short period of time? Let's say within a 30-day period of time, versus as a realtor, you're going to have to look at a lot of houses, meet with a lot of clients, okay? To let's say 10, to have 10 deals closed in a month as a remote money lender is pretty simple. It's not that hectic. I mean, yes, there's a streamlined process. There's some things that you may need to do, may need to verify, make sure you have all the documentation needed to send over to the lender, depending on how that loan is being routed, depends on the nature of the loan, stuff like that. But it's all remote. Once it's over there, it's pretty much that's it. Okay. You sit back, relax, the deal gets closed and you get paid. And you can do 10 of that. 10 of that is not as stressful as trying to close on 10 houses in a month. Okay. And so that's somewhat the difference of if you compare an industry like the real estate industry as a realtor to being a remote money lender. Again, this video is to not to knock you if you are a realtor or want to be a realtor or know anyone that's a realtor. I think the real estate industry is a phenomenal one, okay? Especially on those higher end homes, 500K, $1 million homes. I think it's great to be in. I'm just differentiating it. In fact, what I want to add to this is that if you are a realtor, you might as well get on board to this. If you are a realtor, you might as well consider doing this business because it works perfectly together. While you're at a physical closing table, you could be at a virtual closing table, okay, not physically there, and have deals closed. Think of it this way. So imagine being a realtor. You're a realtor, you're already in the field, or you may know realtors, right? They're already in the field, they're already meeting people, already connecting with people, whether investors who are trying to invest in property, construction companies, okay? Let me tell you guys, lenders love construction companies. They love construction companies. And so you're a realtor, you're already in the field, already in the field, you're already working with construction companies, you're already meeting entrepreneurs, or a lot more people are becoming entrepreneurs and business owners today. You're helping those people find homes, okay? You can help those people as well get funded for their businesses, whether they're a brand new business or they just started out 2 years ago or whichever. They're looking to expand, right? Businesses need funding for all types of this different reasons. So you may be wondering, why would a business need a loan? Well, businesses need loans to free up their cash flow, as simple as freeing up their cash flow. You may look at major corporations today and think that they are just running off of their profits and stuff like that. But a lot of those companies that we know today, they are using business credit and funding to free up their cash flow. Businesses need money as well for expansion, whether to get a new location, to hire more employees, to invest in equipment. You may remember, hopefully you go to the dentist, right? Hopefully you go to the dentist or, the doctor's office, you do your checkups. And you'll notice the medical equipment, the x-ray machines, all the machinery that they use in like dental offices, medical offices, stuff like that. 99.9% out of the time, they are using equipment financing. Okay, meaning they took out a loan to finance those equipments. There are companies and manufacturers that produce those things, right? And so sometimes you don't really think about that, right? Because you're just not thinking about that as a consumer. Okay. But once you step into this space, you're thinking about everybody and you're figuring out all the different businesses who actually need funding. So even dental offices need funding, right? Business owners need funding for all types of different reasons. The hair salon, the beauty industry company, small business companies that sell like hair products, wigs, they want funding so that they can increase their inventory so that they can sell more products and make more money. Okay. They may want to hire additional staff so that they can produce more and all of those things. So businesses need funding for all types of different reasons. Now, as a remote money lender or a business loan company running your own business lending agency, you are not lending your own money. I'm pretty sure I probably established that here, showing you how you get funding to your clients. Okay. You are basically the connector. So you are connecting your clients, applicants, whosoever, business owners to funding. That's what your role is. And you may be wondering, why would a business owner not just go directly to these lenders? Here's the reason why. It's because they don't know that these lenders exist. They have no idea. They have no idea. Okay. Because a lot of times they may go to a traditional bank. Okay. Did I write traditional bank somewhere over here? They may go to a traditional bank and may have gotten denied. And then now they think that they're just not eligible for funding because they got denied with a traditional bank, which is not the truth. It's just that the traditional banks they're traditional. Okay. They have so much red tapes and it's like either this, and that's it. Okay. Not realizing that they could get funding with an alternative lending company through an alternative lender. All right. So in case you're wondering why a company wouldn't go through one of the major companies that we know, like a Chase or whichever, is because a lot of times they don't offer certain creative financing options. Okay. And so that's where the alternative lending industry comes in. It is fast. Traditional lending is, we're talking, maybe weeks, maybe months, depending, in the alternative lending industry, you can get an SBA loan as well. SBA loans by standard are going to take long because it's backed by the government. So that's going to take long regardless. However, even with alternative lending, when business owners come through the alternative lending ecosystem, okay, that funding time gets split in half. With traditional lending, SBA loans can take like 8 months. With alternative lending, it can take like 4 months. Okay, so that is why they will come to the alternative lending industry, is because they have more options. It's faster as well. So now that we've got that covered, let's talk about what industries may need funding, right? So dental offices, let's just put this here. Dental offices, we just talked about that earlier. They need funding for whether hiring staff. I want to put equipment financing here, medical clinics, beauty salons, construction companies. And by the way, this is where the money's at too. Lenders love construction companies. For one, I guess because it's more like, it's a reputable industry. Real estate is a reputable industry. And then also they want a lot of money. Okay. They're looking for loans like 500K, a million, 2 million, whichever. And you can actually do real estate financing in this business to you guys. So not just like the working capital or a line of credits type of business, but you can actually help fund real estate deals. So that's why I'm saying, if you're a real estate agent, you might as well get into remote money lending, or you might as well get into having your own business loan agency. Okay. Because you're in the field anyway, you're connecting with construction companies anyway. So you might as well be the connector and get paid for that as well in the meantime, right? You might as well get paid for that house that you're helping your clients to close on or sell or, whichever, and also get paid while you're at it from other real estate deals in the field. So these are a few of the industries that need funding today. Let me turn my board. Okay, dental offices, medical clinics, beauty salons, construction companies, auto dealerships as well. Auto dealerships and just startups. Startups meaning they don't yet really have revenue. Yes, there are unique financing for that as well. And so, in a nutshell, these are just a few industries that you can look into, or these are just a few industries that already need funding. And I'm sure you're probably looking at this list and you're like, wait a minute, there are a ton of dental offices in my area. There are a ton of beauty salons in my area, medical clinics, construction companies, auto dealerships, startups, whichever, right? Yes. So there's more opportunity than you think. But here's the thing, here's the kicker, okay? It does not matter whether or not you have dental offices, medical clinics, beauty salons, auto dealerships in your area. You could live in a remote area for all I care, right? With nothing, like just on farmland, right? It doesn't matter where you live because you can do this fully remote. Okay. It's all about how you're positioning your business and where you're positioning your business. This is remote. So even if you live on farmland in a very remote area or you live abroad, outside of the US, like now, I started this business when I was based in the US. Now I'm based in pretty much Southeast Asia and I'm still running this business. Why? Because it's remote. The client base is based in the US businesses, right? So this business is basically servicing clients in the United States as well as Canada as well. But once your business, the foundation is set up in the United States, you're partnering with like US lenders and you're helping US based businesses get funding. So I wanted to establish that as well. So just in case you're watching this video and wondering if you can service clients in different countries, I'm sure there's probably a way to do that, but I don't specialize in that. This is about servicing US based or Canada based like businesses and partnering with US based alternative lenders. Okay. So it does not matter where you live because you're doing this remotely. So let's talk about the steps, like what you actually need, okay, to set up your ecosystem properly in order to make this business work remotely, regardless of where you live. Okay. How are you going to attract dental offices, medical clinics, beauty salons, and all those things? So let's get into that section. All right. So what do you need to start this business? One of the main things that you need, you can do this regardless of where you live, right? Okay. You can set the business up. Of course, I haven't really gone into that part, but if you, want me to dive a little bit further into like structuring the business as a US based business to be properly structured, so that you can appear credible as a credible business, feel free to grab my Remote Money Lender Playbook. Okay, I actually have a deep dive Remote Money Lender Playbook. Tied to that is a training and mini course that you can feel free to check out that will walk you through step by step of how, to actually launch this business and all those things. This video will definitely give you the steps of what you need as well in order to set this business up and give you a better understanding, a deeper dive of how this business model works. However, if you're looking for like a proven, like an actual like step by step that you can follow and check off and stuff like that, I will actually watch a deep dive training video. And if you feel like so far, based on what I've been sharing, that this is a business that you may want to start, then you should check out the Remote Money Lender Playbook and mini course. You'll find that linked in the description below. Okay. Let's talk about the ecosystem. All right. So again, does not matter where you live. Does not matter. Okay. You set up the business, you register the business. I have not gone into that in depth, but the basics, just like any other business, you want to properly register your business. Okay. Register your business with the Secretary of State, whichever, make it credible. All right. Okay. Now let's talk about what you need to make this business work. So number one, you need a platform. Okay, you need a platform, you need partnerships, which I'm going to break them down. You need a streamlined process, a platform, partnerships, streamlined process. And at the end, we have marketing system. All right. When we talk about platform, let's first break down platform. Okay, what that means, what that looks like. You need a place where your clients, applicants can basically just come, give you their information. They can just come, put in their information. All right. That's what I mean by platform, website, landing page, whichever. Okay. So I guess I'll probably just draw like a computer. I guess that looks like a computer, maybe. All right. So website, landing page that has the appropriate uh, built-in forms to capture certain information that's very important in the lending industry. And by the way, before we even get into that, when they get into when they first land on your platform, okay, whether that looks like a traditional website, a landing page, or just directly to a form, okay, the form you want it to be optimize in a sense for lending. Okay. So when they land on that page, they know exactly what you can do for them. With any business, not even just lending, but when a client, a customer lands on your page, they need to understand in the first, like maybe 5-7 seconds, what it is that you can do for them and why they should give you their information. Okay. So think that. Okay. Focus on that. That way, when clients land on your landing page, your website, they immediately see that, okay, you offer some type of loan solutions for my company that can help my company grow, get equipment financing, start my business, whichever. But then the first like 5 seconds, they shouldn't have to think too hard. Like, or our brain is already, it burns so much calories in a day. Like we have like thousands of thoughts in a day. So the brain will shut down like if it feels like it's going to have to process too much information. All right. So soon as somebody gets to that platform, they need to understand almost immediately what you can do for them. Okay. Just even by the name of the business, possibly. Or like I said, the first 5 to 7 seconds, they should understand clearly what you can do for them, what you can do for their business. All right. Then that's one part. You'll break down possibly different funding solutions that you offer or that you and your lending partners offer. Okay. You could share some credibility. Okay. If you don't have any credibility, that is 100% fine. You can do this business whether you are brand new. Did I say that? Did I even say that? You can do this business without lending your own money, without having a finance degree, without being super smart, without knowing every type of loan product that there is for businesses, without knowing immediately like what lenders that you can partner with. Okay, well, that's why there's my Remote Money Lender Playbook. I break everything down in there, okay, for you more in depth. But you can do this business even if you're brand new and don't know all the things and don't really have credibility as yet, because your lending partners, they have the credibility. So you can still have some type of credibility built into your site. Okay. But either way, not to harp on this section, there'll need to be a form that they need to fill out in a sense where they put their business information in, how much capital they're looking for, stuff like that, the business industry that they are in. That's very important because some lenders, they don't like to lend to certain industries. You may know this as like high risk industries, okay? High risk industries. Some lenders do, but they'll put in like their basic business information, how much money they're looking for, how long they've been in business, their EIN, stuff like that. And that will be a downloadable form that they sign so that way, okay, we'll talk about this in a second, the streamline process. So that way, when they sign, you already have their signed application. It can be funneled to the lender. Okay. All right. So website form, application form built in to it. Okay. Funneled to lending partners. Okay, when I say partnerships, I'm talking about today's a long video, you guys. I'm giving you literally a whole masterclass of how to start your remote money lending business. Okay, so bear with me. Our partnerships, we're talking about lending partners. We're talking about direct lenders and lender networks. So actually, let me write that specifically. We're talking about earlier, I kind of broke that down for you guys already, right? direct lenders, lender networks. That's what we mean by partnerships. Okay. With these partnerships, every lender, direct lender, lender network is different. When I just started this industry, you guys, I mostly partnered with lender networks. I didn't necessarily know any better. Okay. I didn't necessarily know any better. It wasn't until like a few months in, I was like, okay, I'm partnering with these lender networks. Life is good. I'm getting paid. I would be traveling or whichever, and just, oh, my watch broke. All right, I'm gonna take this watch off. Anyway, I will be traveling or, doing whichever and just be getting paid. ACH deposits, ACH deposits. But then when I really broke down the business model and the percentage that I was getting paid in the beginning, those beginning like few months, I realized that with a lender network, so let me break this down because you're probably wondering what's the difference with partnering with a lender network and the difference with partnering with direct lenders. When you partner with direct lenders, you get paid more money. I've written this a little bit over here because this is not going to be over there, but you get paid more. With lender networks, you get paid, but not that much. With direct lenders, you get about 2 to 3 or 4 times the amount because with lender networks, they are basically leveraging their company. And so they do a lot of the heavy lifting, all the things. You basically can route the clients directly to them. They pretty much do most of the work. You don't really do much, really, and you get paid. So it's all right. You know what I mean? It's pretty sweet. But if you really want to take this business seriously, direct lendership is the way to go. You're getting paid 3-4 times more. So for example, you sent a deal or a deal was sent to a lender network. Let's say your commission was maybe, let's say, $2,000, okay, based on the funding amount. That same $2,000 could have been $6,000 or $7,000 had it been routed directly to a lender. So that is the difference with partnering directly with lenders versus with a lender network. Okay. All right. So now that we've established that, by the way, what I was saying was in my first few months, I was partnering mostly with lender networks. That's all I knew. Like I said, lender network reached out to me. This is how I stumbled upon this business on accident. You guys, I had no idea that this world exists. At the time, I was somewhat like helping people, sharing my journey of how I was able to build my business credit, get funding for my business, helping people build their business credit. I was doing like short-term rental at a time as well. And I kind of like tied it in. I was really helping people. If you go back on my videos, you'll see that I was doing a lot of like business credit and funding videos. That's because I started to understand how to build business credit, how business credit worked, what lenders are looking for, stuff like that. When I was not 19, I worked in like consumer lending. I was very young. I started just like as a teller. Didn't really know much. I didn't have a finance degree. Did not have any experience. Got lucky, I guess. I don't know. God was like, apply, and I applied. And I started working in the finance industry as a teller, and then worked my way up as a loan processor back office and like a financial representative. But this was all consumer lending, all consumer lending. And then I completely forgot about that industry, went on to be a flight attendant, joined the Air Force, absolutely nothing to do with business lending. Still no finance degree. I have no finance degree today. I do not lend my own money, and I don't have firsthand experience in business lending. Okay. People that I know that do this as well have no experience in lending at all, and they're still out here closing deals. And so I just wanted to share that backstory of how I kind of like got in. It was not because I knew it all. I had no idea that this business existed. If a lender network didn't reach out to me. And so I was like, sure, let me see what happens. And to my surprise, within a few months, I was just closing deals left and right. And I was happy. I was getting thousands of dollars. This day I had like over $1,000 closed, and tomorrow was like $600 deposited into my account without me like having conversation with these business owners. I didn't have to pitch to them or nothing, right? Because I set up a system that funneled them basically, okay? With my marketing strategy was pretty simple, okay? And it funneled them directly to lender networks. And so at the time, after a few months, I was like, okay, how do because I started to really think and remembered what they told me, that I would basically get a percentage of what they got. So, meaning, let's say their partnership with a lending company, let's say it was 10%, and they had, let's say, a 100K deal funded, okay? And their commission, let's say, was $10,000. I, as the connector, right? In this situation, is like two middlemen, myself or yourself, and then the lender network. Okay, I would only have gotten a fraction of that, maybe 30% of that, or 25, depending. Okay, so mine would be maybe just maybe $2,000, $3,000. Meanwhile, they got $10,000. Now, if you become the only middleman, you become the only middleman and only partner with direct lenders. Again, you can do this both ways. I mean, we still do this both ways in this industry today, depending on the nature, what's going on. You get to, keep that entire $10,000 versus only $2,000. So the question then becomes, is it worth it to partner with direct lenders? Maybe do a little bit of extra work, like funneling the, documents or whichever to them, or, whatever is needed. That becomes the question. Okay. And I would say yes. Again, you can do it both ways. And so after a while, back to the backstory, I was like, how can I become that person? Because then I realized, oh, like I said, I remember that, okay, I'm only getting 30% of this. I'm not like getting the full thing that I could get. So I'm like, how do I become the only middleman? And so I started to really think about it, and I started to really do my research. And that's how I figured out that, oh, I can actually bypass lender networks as well and go directly to lenders. All right. So partnerships, streamline process. I'm going to kind of erase this or dilute it some so that I can have space for streamline process. Okay. So now that we have condensed that, let's talk about the streamline process. Okay. What that looks like. So remember, they enter into your system, your ecosystem, in a sense. Okay. This is the entryway to the ecosystem. Your site, the forms, they fill that out. This is technically a part of the streamline process, right? The streamline process includes routing it to the partnerships, direct lenders or lender networks. Okay. So with the streamline process, you're looking at like a software type of setup, right? Like a software, a database type of setup where their information will be housed. Okay. So when you think, like, when you go to, like, the bank or to, let's say, the doctor, multiple people can pull up your information, right? You put in your information and multiple people can pull it up and find your information. Okay. That's kind of what we mean by a streamlined process, and kind of like a software type of system where your client's information will be housed. That way you can communicate directly with them there. You want a software system or a system where you can directly, follow up with your client if needs be, put notes, stuff like that. Like, it's basically like a tracking system, okay? Like a proper official tracking system. Remember that you're building a real business, so you want things to be streamlined properly. You want things to be nice and clean, nice and professional, okay? Not necessarily for your clients, because they're not seeing this. They're not seeing your process. They're not seeing your back office, but it's really for you as the business owner, right? And as you grow your business, grow your teams, maybe you have an admin in the future. Maybe you have a VA, right? Things need to be cohesive, okay? And for your marketing, stuff like that, you want a proper, like, software back office type of system that everything can be done through there. Marketing, follow-ups, all the things, okay? Everything can be done here. Again, in my Remote Money Lender Playbook, you can, when you access that, it kind of breaks this down a little bit further. And with the training that's in there as well, you also get access to our growing community. of people who are currently right now launching their lending businesses, like literally getting started. They are like rocking and rolling. Okay. So you get to get that support, rub shoulders, virtual shoulders a little bit with other people who are currently doing what you want to do as well. So if that's you, if you feel like you're ready to start this type of business, then you should grab the playbook and access the training as well. Okay. So you want a streamlined process, software type of system. Okay. Marketing system. All right. Marketing can be done inside of your, software, CRM, whichever. By the way, we do offer a done for you. So you're probably wondering, this sounds great. And it's very simple, you guys. Okay. I hope that you're not overwhelmed by all of this. But I want you to know that it is so simple and doable. What I love about this business, if you are someone who loves structure, you love a streamlined process, like you have a step-by-step system, a step-by-step of how you can do something. If that's the type of business model that you're looking for, then this may work for you. Okay. Because it's streamlined. It's it's straightforward. You're not dealing with MLMs or signing on there this person or whichever or getting to this level, or it's none of that complicated stuff. Okay. Multi-level. Nothing is necessarily wrong with multi-level marketing. It can definitely help you grow as an individual. I'm just telling you that that's not that. It's a very simple model. Okay. You're a remote money lender, a loan agency, start a loan company. You partner with the right people. Okay. You have a way to collect information, and it's streamlined to where applications can be routed to the lenders, direct lenders, lender partners. And when the deal is closed, by the way, okay, when the deal is closed, you get paid, okay, from here, basically, okay? The deal is closed and you get paid, okay? But let's talk about marketing, all right? Because you're probably wondering, okay, how do you market this business? We're going to talk about that in a sec. Any business, any business needs marketing. Okay. If you don't market your business, whether it's faceless, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's forward facing, whether it's in person, whether it's email marketing, direct marketing, whatever. Okay. Any business that does no marketing, it doesn't exist. The business doesn't exist. And I heard somebody say, don't remember the guy's name, but a business that does no marketing is like a business that is basically like throwing like a duck, like a tiny, the tiny rubber duckies in like the middle of the ocean. Nobody's ever going to see it. Okay. The reason why I like this business model is because you as the CEO, you as the business owner, you do not need to be the face of the brand. Okay. This is not nobody cares about you in this type of industry. Okay. Nobody cares about you as a CEO, as a business owner. You ever notice like when lenders do like their commercials and stuff like that, like lenders who truly understand the fact that the customers and the clients are the heroes and not them, you never really see them really at the face of everything. You will see like a business owner getting funded. A business owner just got approved for a loan. It's about you. You can start your business today. You can get approved for $50,000 in a business loan to start your business. It's about you, the client. Okay. So what I love about this business is that you, as the individual, the business owner, don't necessarily have to be forward facing. You don't have to be forward facing of your brand. Okay. You don't have to come out and say, hey, I'm the CEO of this and this business company, and, I'm going to help you get a loan. You can 100% do that. But the way marketing can work with this business is that it can be very behind the scenes. Okay. So you have paid marketing, and then you have organic. There's so many different ways, you guys. I know I'm kind of like repeating the playbook at this point, but in the playbook really breaks down like step by step, like how you could truly do like marketing with this business. So you have paid, you have organic. I mean, you have so many different platforms out there. CO, or I should say Google, right? Google is a great platform, right? Whether that is YouTube, Google itself. Pinterest is also a search engine. A lot of people sleep on Pinterest. I'm telling you right now, if you can generate some compelling pins, okay, if you don't want to do it, get a VA to do it. Do a bunch of pins that reads something as simple as, I'm telling you, simplicity is key. Something as simple as get, I don't know, up to 100,000 in working capital or in business funding, 5 minutes application, or get funded in 48 hours. That's usually a fun one. Funded in 48 hours or something like that. Remember, I told you that in this industry, funding, the turnaround time is fast. Don't mind my chicken scratch, y'all. But funding 48 hours with a business owner or a salon owner, maybe somebody braiding someone's hair, a construction company, the logistics industry, trucking company, somebody in the what industries we talked about earlier? We talked about beauty, construction. I mean, there's schools. I mean, there's startups. There's retail. I didn't mention retail earlier, but there's retail. Whatever imagery you decide to have with an image that depicts the industry that you're talking about, and you can niche down too. That's what I love with this business, you guys. You can choose the niche that you want to mostly exclusively pitch to. I mean, you can fund everybody or help fund everybody, but you can speak directly to a specific niche, which is what makes this business unique. And here's the thing. You can decide to market to companies in, let's say, Texas. You may live in Georgia, right? Maybe Atlanta, Georgia or something. And you can market specifically to businesses in different states, different cities, specific niches in different cities. Like any business, the more you niche down, it's better, But again, you can be general. You can be as general as you want, and you can niche down as much as you want. Okay. But I'm telling you, a lot of people sleep on Pinterest, which is a search engine. It's not like social media where you're fighting with the algorithm. Okay. So this is just one way. I'm literally telling you one way, okay, of how you can market organically. Pinterest. You guys, I started using Pinterest not too long ago for more like personal branding. And I'm still shocked that people are literally like repinning my stuff, saving my stuff. I'm like, who's pinning my stuff? Like nobody's supposed to be pinning my stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's a search engine. People will find your pin based on what they are looking for. And with Pinterest, if you don't know how to do it, again, you can get like, let's say a VA or somebody to do it. And what Pinterest does is they see the image, somebody searched for something, they see the image, you have your website link in there, it takes them directly to where it needs to go, whether directly to your platform where it's funneled. They fill out the form and it's funneled to the lender, or it goes directly to the lender because there's different ways to do this. And yeah, easy peasy, you guys. So marketing, you have paid, you have organic. I mean, there's social media, but if I'm being honest, outside of like running ads, which is another way, with like paid marketing, running ads, Google, there's email marketing, there's email scraping. Do you know that there's literally platforms out there that you could use today to get verified email list of business owners that you can directly market to legally? Okay. You can tell these platforms or systems, okay. I'm not necessarily talking about ChatGPT. Okay. There's AI, that can help you do a lot of things today, but there are specific email marketing, email scraping platforms that you can use to get verifiable leads. Well, that's 100, 500. Okay. You can start your marketing like that and market directly to those industries that you want to market directly to. Maybe it's only construction companies. Maybe it's only dental offices. Okay. And route them directly and build your email list that way. You guys, email marketing, building an email list is so powerful today. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. You want to be building an email list, okay? So that you can continue to nurture and continue to market to those people. But those are some ways, so many different ways, you guys. So if you're into like in-person network stuff, sure. But a lot of your marketing, most of your marketing is probably going to be done virtually, remotely. Again, there's organic ways to do this. There are paid ways to do this. And the beautiful thing with this business is with marketing, you guys, it's not hard to sell money, right? If you think of it this way, you're literally helping people. You're literally helping businesses get money. You're helping them get money, get funded, get funding for their business. It's not a hard sell. It's harder to ask someone to invest, let's say, in a property or to buy this house. You have to kind of convince them of the 80-20. You know, when you're buying a house, I told you the story of when I was buying a house when I was 23 and my realtor had to help me try, you know, she was leading me, helping me to see the bigger picture, like, oh, it's not a big house. But, you know, it's your starter house. You're only 23. You're single. You're not married, you know. And so she had to kind of do that, kind of convince me that, hey, it may not be every single thing that you want, but it can work for you, right? Because remember, I'm putting my hard-earned money down on this house. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to live in this house for at least 5 years, all of those things. Or try to convince someone to, let's say, buy something, like invest 50K into something, right? They have to really, they're more skeptical in a sense than you as a professional company, okay, a remote money lender, saying, hey, we can help you get K for your business so that you can invest in marketing, so that you can invest in hiring high quality teams so that your business can grow or become the top in the industry or whichever, right? It's easier, in my opinion, okay, you may think differently, but in my opinion, it's easier to get someone to say, yes, sure, give me some money so that I can grow my business, okay? So it's business loans. It's not a lot of like hard selling. Um, the key here is having those quality leads, having the right partnerships, okay? Having them funneled properly and streamlined, have a streamlined process so that those deals can be closed so that you can be paid. And so in a nutshell, you guys, that's how you can start your own business lending company, right? In a nutshell. And let me know in the comments, like what you think. Okay, let me know what you think. Again, you can check out the Remote Money Lender Playbook if this is something that you feel like, I could do this. I want to do this. And we also offer it done for you. So if you feel like you want a business in a box. Okay, so we basically deliver for you a business in a box, a streamlined process with systems, lenders in place, automated funneling, automations, okay, deals coming in on autopilot, okay, virtual assistant to help you out, your own software that you'll be managing and running your business through. Okay, even marketing, we do that for you. Okay, we have a complete business in a box service that, you know, we help our clients with. All right. So mostly for our clients who they see the value of having this type of business, but they don't necessarily want to really do it from scratch. Okay. So we offer that exclusive program for those types of clients. And then we also have, you know, those of you may be like, you know what, I want to be boots on the ground. I want to really see this process through. I have a lot of those women right now in our private group who are, you know, making things happen. Okay, literally making things happen. So either way, this is 100% something that you can do. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, okay, by all the information. Just know that with anything in life, whether this business or the next, just take it step by step. First, you have to believe that it is something that you can do and believe that it is something that you will do and you will be committed to the process. Okay. That is one of the first things. And again, you have to approach this business as at a CEO level, as an entrepreneur. Okay. That you're coming into this business to run this business in your unique way, but still implementing, okay, a structured system. All right. So you got this. You can do it. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Share this business model with somebody else who you think can benefit from this. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you have questions, and if this sounds like a business that you would like to do. Until next time, beautiful people, be blessed. Bye.